Well, here we have a box with a Lulzbot TAZ in it. Let's take a peek and see what's inside. Okay, when you open the box up, you have a nice start here guide that tells you exactly what you need to do with all the goodies underneath the cover. So here's a shot of that. And we'll go ahead and start taking this thing up. Okay, the first thing we're going to see is all these parts bags, tools, documentation, and the power supply. So we've got the printed user manual here with some wire ties in it. Expect to be told what to do with those next. Power cord, USB cable. That, I suspect, is the spindle for the filament, and the feeding tube for the filament. And the toolbox, that's a really neat bag. Look at that. And the power supply. That's neat. This is all printed. Yeah, that's really cool. This is really, really well packed. Okay. Look at that. Wow. That's just insane. Okay, and there is the TAZ itself. Wow, that is just neater than hell. Okay, let's carefully get this out of here. Okay, I really didn't pay a great deal of attention to the instructions like I should have, so somebody's probably going to yell at me. But being a geek, it's what I do. Okay, let's carefully unpack this thing and get on the road. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully lift it up and take the bottom off of here. Let's do this without destroying anything, shall we? That would just be awesome. I cannot believe this packing material. It looks like it's all laser cut or something. There we go. This must have set him back at least 50 bucks. Okay. I had some wire under here that I need to move. And now we're going to lift it up. Oops. Okay, maybe not. What do we got going here? I probably should have read something, shouldn't I? Oh, okay. Now I see where my error was. I need to remove the y-axis bed very carefully out of this. I suspect this is why they wanted it done with it in the box. So guys, don't be like me and do it wrong. Follow the guide. It's printed for a reason. Primarily so people like me don't do dumb stuff like this. Oh, I hated that sound. Okay. Now, and this comes out there. They probably spent a lot of time carefully packing this thing. And here I am, treating it like a complete gorilla. And there we go. Okay, now we have that out. And now we need to set it up on a flat surface, which this table qualifies as. Look at the size of this stupid thing. Wow, okay. Okay. I need to review some instructions and I will be right back. Okay, before I go into getting this ready, I wanted to go through the documentation packet. In it is the Lulzbot TAZ user manual. It's a really nice manual. It's well over 100 pages. 116 it looks like. Covers everything you need to know about the printer. Read this first before you turn the printer on. Very important warnings and notices about how to do stuff. Also included with the documentation is a test acceptance record. It's got the serial number of the printer, date completed, and who it was tested by, and it shows all the configuration information on there. There's a quality checklist. Looks like 2 quality checklists and a packing list. Very impressive. So let's go ahead and now that we've got the boring stuff out of the way. The first step on here, right there, is working with the Y bed, the Y-axis assembly. So what we want to do is go ahead and take this plastic protective material off. It looks like bubble wrap with adhesive on it. Oops, what do we got? We got tape on here. Oh, I know. I suspect that this green tape that I'm taking off of here is to hold the bed in place, because this is the glass printing surface and it looks like it's got PET tape applied to it or something similar. So we'll get this taken off. Well, you know, you can actually see the test print that was done on the bed. There's a little oval shape on here from the hot end, and I'll show that to you here in a second, or at least I'll try. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I'll try to make it a little bit easier to see, but it's really faint. You can see an outline of the perimeter that was printed for the test part. And then it takes off. It either comes in or goes out on that side, but they did run a test print to make sure that the machine worked, which I think is really, really cool. The next step that we need to do here is slide the bed sideways. You don't want to do this really fast because it's kind of hard on the stepper motor, and you definitely don't want to do it when it's plugged into the machine, because this is a DC motor, and if you move it really quick, the voltage it produces will damage the electronics. And you don't want to do that. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take these out. And these are the Y-axis bolts. There's 4 of them. Moving it by hand, you probably don't want to move it any faster than about that when it's plugged in. Or you can use the computer control to go ahead and move the bed for you if you don't want to position it by hand, which is probably a really good idea. Just jog the bed as quick as the software will move it. It's very well constructed, it looks like. I haven't flipped it upside down to look at the underside yet, but it looks well done. Okay, now we need to locate the 4 y-axis mounts on the TAZ frame. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that now. Okay, we've got the TAZ frame sitting on the desk, on the table here. These are the brackets that we're going to be connecting the y-axis to. Now the instructions say, in step 4, it says, with the print surface facing up and the stepper motor at the end of the y-axis facing back, slide the y-axis assembly between the y-axis mount brackets, aligning the holes on the brackets with the bolt holes in the y-axis assembly. So, we will take this, like so, and we will slide this all the way back, like that. And then slide it in here such that these two components fit together. Let's get these wires cleared out of here to make sure that we're not going to interfere with anything. Okay, and then we just take these two little screws here and carefully thread these things in order for it to fit. Fits nice and snug, looks square. Okay, nice and tight. Now we slide this back this direction. Now keep in mind that the face of the TAZ is facing me. So you're looking at the back of the machine right now. These bolts are not going into threaded plastic, they're actually going into metal inserts that are in these printed components. And as such, they can be kind of a trick to get in. You must outsmart the screw. There we go. Make sure those are nice and tight. Okay. Now, yeah, and a part that I kind of missed is before you tighten these things down completely, make sure that the aluminum extrusion is actually in physical contact with the extrusions down here. This makes sure that you've got a square and level bed. And make sure the surface you're building on is flat and level. Otherwise, it'll probably cause you problems. Okay, next, we're going to pull the bed's already completely towards the front. And now we're going to connect the 4-pin stepper motor connector and the 2-pin end stop connectors. So, that being that fancy step right about there. Okay, yeah, you saw that, didn't you? You should have one of these books and be following along. If not, well, there you go. Okay, so these look like the connectors I'm supposed to be working with. So the stepper motor connection will fit like so. I hope. Nope, that's not the right direction. It's keyed. There we go. It's keyed so people like me can't screw it up. This is a good thing. Because he keeps trying to screw it up. Ah, there we go. Okay. That is done there. And that's kind of coming out of the split loom tubing that they use to protect the wires with. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to slide the bed forward a bit here because we've got cable assembly somewhere. that meets the other direction. So, there we go. No, is that it? No, I don't know what that is. Oh, that is it. That is the heated bed and the thermistor. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get these two connected. Well, isn't that cool? They're using Anderson power pole connectors on there. I use those with my amateur radio stuff and my RC airplane stuff, and they're extremely good connectors. And we'll come back to this in a second. Okay, the next task we're going to do here is we're going to finish hooking this up. This is the thermistor for the heated bed. And just fit together like that with a good solid click to make sure that it's together. And now we're going to take two of the wire ties that were included, and we're going to tie down this wiring harness to make sure that it doesn't catch on anything as the bed traverses back and forth. So we'll just take this, slide it around like so, and then take the other one and attach that. Underneath the aluminum on top, and then we'll just go ahead and clip those. Yeah, I know, I didn't come prepared. I should have had the wire cutters. And just clip those flush. Like so. Okay, now the next step is that we need to locate and remove the little packing parts and the locking things for the hot end. So up here, and you really can't see this really well, but there's a little gray foam block. Okay, it's facing the machine. It's going to be in the upper left-hand rod. And then it looks like there is an orange large wire tie holding the print head mechanism in place. So we'll go ahead and we'll carefully clip that off of there. You see that right there. And now the head should move freely. And you probably can't see that, but it does. Okay, now the next step is connecting the power supply to the TAZ, and we'll go ahead and we'll do that next. It turns out I made a mistake. We are not ready to hook the power supply up. I missed a couple of really important parts that were shown in the instructions, but Doofus here didn't pay any attention to. There are these clips that need to be removed. Okay, these hold the X-axis carriage in place during shipping to prevent no damage happens to them. And there are a pair of these on each side. So we'll go ahead and we'll get these removed, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the power supply. Okay, let's go ahead and get the power supply hooked up. This is the power supply. Really nice little unit. It really does need feet. And it looks like it's got holes from the bottom. So if you're so inclined, I'd add feet. The power switch, make sure the power switch is turned off here, and make sure the power switch is turned off on here. And this is the IEC connector for the power plug. And the power cord is a positive locking device, and it looks like it's keyed. Yes. So we'll go ahead and we'll rotate that around until it finds a home spot, and then just turn that until it locks, and it's got a positive lock to it, and that part's complete. And then of course you just take the power cord, plug the power cord in like that. That goes into, well, you know where that goes. And the next task is to install the filament feed tube and a spool of filaments, so we'll do that next. Okay, the last thing we have to do is install the filament guide tube, and it's really simple. It clips on right here and just kind of hangs out over the print head. And we'll see how to route the filament and everything else when we reach that step. The filament mounts right here, but we're not ready for that yet. What we need to do right now is get the software downloaded and installed. And for this segment, we'll be using my Windows 7 laptop. Okay, we've got the power supply installed, set up, turned on, running. You've got your software downloaded and set up. Now it's time to go ahead and get our first roll of filament installed. So, what we do is we've got a roll of 3mm filament, a spindle axle, and the retaining parts. And what we're going to go ahead and do is just get the desiccant bag out of here. We just slide that in there like so. And mine doesn't fit because it wasn't designed for mine, but it's pretty close. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then this just slides in there like so. And then just carefully thread that in there. You don't want to do it too tight. It doesn't need to be. And it'll actually cause you problems in the long run if you have it tightened down too tight. And it takes a while. Just get it in there. And you want it to move okay. And then on the other side, you'll take your washer and your wing nut and put it on the other side and tighten it down just so vibration and motion don't over time cause this to back out and fall off and cause you problems. Next, we're going to go ahead and load the filament. Okay, before we can load fresh filament into the printer, what we need to do is clear the calibration print. Now, what I like to do is just to run the plastic through it. On my printer, they used ABS. So in print run, I've got the heater temperature set to 230 degrees Celsius, and I'm just going to hit the extrude button. It'll give me 5mm of extruded material every time I click it. So when I hit it, you'll see it feed. And if you can look at the bottom, you'll see right here filament coming out. You see? And there's no real reason for this beyond doing it because it's kind of fun. And you can see what the extrusion looks like when it comes out of the hot end. And now we're going to go ahead and feed the PLA that I'm going to use for my first example print. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reduce the temperature to the hot end to 185 degrees. I do that because I need to let it cool down because I don't want it to burn up the PLA. Now, to load the filament, it's really, really simple, okay? What we do is we'll feed some filament through here a little bit so you can see on the line. My hand's kind of in the way a little bit, okay? Pull this lever back a little bit, come on. And then lift it up like so. And then this arm moves out of the way. And with that, you can pick out the last little bit of plastic that was in the hot end. And then we'll go ahead and grab some more of that and just load that in there like so. And you need to kind of push down on it and just go ahead and push until you can see little bits of plastic coming out on the bottom of it. Okay, and then go ahead and lift this up again. Set that in there, pull that over, and it's set. Okay, now we'll go ahead and try extruding some plastic. And you can't see it down here, but it is feeding a little bit. Thought I'd give a real quick overview of the neat little toolkit that comes with the TAZ. It's got some really nice important tools in here. First, we've got a nice set of, these are actually pretty heavy duty. They're Stanley needle nose pliers. And it looks like this is the knife for taking prints off the bed. That looks pretty sharp, so I would avoid using that on your hand. And then there is a wrench, unmarked. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's 13mm wrench. I suspect this fits on the nozzle. And let's see what's in the other compartment. Okay, well, this is a little metal brush, and it looks like something that you would use to clean plastic out of the hobbed bolt in the extruder. Let's see, we've got a very nice little sharp pick for, I suspect, cleaning things out of other things, or cleaning plastic out of other things. An X-Acto knife with a blade, a very complete metric Allen wrench set, a small metric gauge with a stop on it, pretty nice, 150mm. A set of very fine tweezers for picking parts up, I suspect. And that looks to be about it. Pretty slick.